Hi, I'm Paul Chris, Vice President of Energy Delivery here at Lincoln Electric System. Energy Delivery is responsible for the design and construction of projects throughout our service territory. These projects could include road widenings, new developments, or infrastructure upgrades that we're doing in neighborhoods. We'd like to update you with this video to give you some more ideas of what's happening in the city and to give you some information to reach out if you have further questions. Thanks again for listening, and let us know if there's any questions you have.
My name is Tim Rajewski, and I'm a project manager at Lincoln Electric System. The 56th Street Reliability Project is a multi-phase project to rebuild transmission lines and transmission structures along over 2 miles of 56th Street from Everett Street to Elkcrest Drive. Replaced structures and cable will provide reliable service and increase the capacity of the transmission line for future load. The total number of transmission structures will be reduced and move further from the street where possible for community safety. Taller structures will also be utilized to limit the exposure of the transmission lines to trees, as well as improve the view along 56th Street. To accommodate the work of replacing the existing transmission lines, the project will be broken into 2 phases. The first phase is an overhead to underground conversion. Once the electrical distribution lines have been buried, the removals of the existing distribution lines on the transmission structures, the middle lines, and the communication lines, the lower lines, can be removed. LES is working with local communication providers to relocate their cables as well, so you may notice them and their contractors working in the area as well. Once that is complete, Phase 2 can then begin. Phase 2 will then rebuild the transmission line. For more information, visit our website. Construction of Phase 1 is starting in summer of 2023 and is due to complete in summer of 2024. Customers directly impacted by construction were sent mailings, followed by a public open house in August of 2022.
I'm Shanna Sprackling, the Land Management Manager here at Lincoln Electric System. Over the past several months, LES has been engaging landowners and stakeholders within the project area. These engagements are essential to provide landowner and stakeholder transparency when it comes to the scope of work that we will be doing on your property, the construction-related activity, engineering design, and easement needs if LES infrastructure is required to be placed on property that you may have an ownership interest in. Some easements are already in place in established areas within the project area, and if LES will be utilizing those routes, we will be making contact prior to construction commencement. What are easements? Easements are a land contract that provide LES with a partial interest in real property that you may own that provide LES the right of access in order to operate, construct, and maintain. These easements are critical in maintaining the integrity of our system and are needed for public safety. As a locally owned public power utility, LES takes great pride in keeping your power on and want to meet landowner and stakeholder expectations during the life cycle of these projects.
Hi, my name is Wes Gira, and I'm a supervisor in T&D construction with Lincoln Electric System. So on a construction project like 56th Street, you're gonna first see staking, which is LES wooden stakes, and they'll be noting the construction route. After staking, you'll see one-call flags, which tells us where the existing underground infrastructure is at, and that is in an effort to avoid any damage to the facilities. Shortly after that, you'll see Central States contractors come in. They're going to be doing the directional boring. Associated with that work is usually like a mini excavator, a number of pits, and the customers that are affected by that, they'll be talked to on like an individual basis. Shortly after that, you'll see LES crews show up on site. They're going to be beginning to use that duct that was installed, pulling in new wire. Associated with that would be excavation equipment. You'll see bucket trucks, digger derricks, pickups, pretty active area. As part of construction, outages will be needed. We will contact customers prior to the scheduled outage to let them know, give them plenty of advance notice. We will go around knocking on doors. We will leave a pink slip noting the day, the time, the associated construction person with that outage. So while we're working out on 56th Street and in different parts of this project, we'll be utilizing lane closures for our safety. Anybody traversing through that area, just be safe out there, drive defensively, and use caution around the workers.
LES is proud to be the public power provider for our community. This project will continue to provide the community with reliable electric power and plan for future growth. For more information about this project, visit our website at les.com/construction.